Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the greatest show on planet Earth, bar none. You know, Sandra Sully, I know you got one, but it's nothing compared to this. So, this is the Uncovered podcast with Nick and Femi. What's going on? It's your boy Femi.
Yes, sir. And it's your boy Nick. Actually, you know what? I'll let you do this one.
Cool. Yeah, let me do what I'm good at.
That's it. I'll give you a 1 minute of fame. That's it. I'll sit like this.
We've got a special guest today, you know what I mean? She just informed us, miss 1 million views an episode. Biggest show on TV. We're talking A-list celebrities. After the show, we were on like K-list.
Yeah, K-list.
But she's proper A-list, you know what I'm saying? Financial analyst as well. The one and only Miss Natasha Spencer. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here, come into one of my houses.
This is like, man, you keep buying properties all day.
Yeah, I'm rich.
It's a bit crazy.
Yeah. Amazing Race money is different.
Amazing Race is what's up. I need to get on the K list.
Yeah. You want the K list? A list overrated. There's too many people on that list. I'm telling you.
Man. That's bands. But honestly, Tash, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
It's gonna be another one of our. It's gonna go either way. It can go either way with this one.
It's going down.
I hope it goes left.
I love it when it goes left.
I love when it goes left.
I love it.
So
that's any direction we know.
100%. So it's gonna be fun. We're gonna talk a bit of shit. Talk about some real shit as well, and then just see how it goes, man. So we want to be casual, want to be chill, which is like you shake it off, man. You already know. hit the manny bop. So Nick, talk to the people. What are we doing? What's our icebreaker today?
As you guys know, as we always do, right? We always like to start things off with a little bit of an icebreaker.
Okay.
And obviously the Amazing Race money has given us a little bit of sponsorships and donations and stuff. So
it's crazy.
So now we've got Fantastic.
Oh yeah.
One of our sponsors.
Shout out to Kmart. $9.50 at Kmart.
And what we're doing is the original mouth guard challenge. You guys know what this is. You've seen this all on show the camera. So they know what
if you're not on YouTube, man, go on the YouTube channel, subscribe to us. It's crazy. But yeah.
Honestly, if you're not checking us out on visuals on YouTube right now, you're actually missing out on some pure banter.
We're some good looking people.
Good looking people.
Yo. You heard it here first, man. I bet. So how is the game actually gonna run, Nick?
So what I assume, right, is that we've got a mouth guard. So to the guys listening, we got a mouth guard, right? Kind of picture like boxing mouth guard.
What?
It's like a boxing
it's
mouth
like
guard.
when you go to the dentist and they open up.
Yeah. You're right.
Dude, this guy is a dumbass, bro. Like,
that's right.
So when you have the dentist, you open up your whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's checking all them.
That's what I was trying to say.
I bet. And then we got like a series of cards with activities on them. So Natasha's gonna be, versing your boy right now. You already know what it is.
All G-rated activities, right?
All G-rated.
Look, it's not G-rated. This is definitely not a G-rated show. So talk what you want to talk. All the activities. Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, you were going somewhere.
No. Yeah, the activities are G-rated. Oh, my bad.
That's how I feel. Like,
it looks like a kid's game. There's kids on the boxes. That's just going.
The kid's game's like, I shoulder that.
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. I bet. Okay. All right. So there's a series. I hope this doesn't make edit.
Nah, tell Sean you don't want it.
Nah, put it in. Cool. So there's a series of different activities that Tasha's going to be versing me in. Winner takes all. We'll see what I feel like the prize is going to be at the end. If I win, I'll choose a...
Stay tuned to the end. That's more of an incentive to stay.
100%.
Yeah.
So let's have a mouth guard each, please. You can pick one.
I'll pick one. This is...
do I need a small kid's mouth guard? Can I have an adult size one?
You got a small
please?
mouth, mate.
That's cap.
And what's...
That's a lie.
And here we go. Tash.
Yeah, adult size me.
Adult size?
I bet.
We'll give it a question for me.
Nick, so go through them, have a run,
Have a run. I thought we got some pre-selected, but that's all good.
You saw me open the box.
Let's make a MAFS edition, should we?
Oh God, don't.
How do I do this shit?
Hi.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Boom.
How did I do this?
You just gotta squeeze it.
Squeeze in your mouth.
Oh, did you have the big one in?
Yeah.
Oh, the big one's in first.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ha ha. That's
Alright,
crazy.
Boom. I'm gonna go with the first one. Yeah, I'm gonna speak and choose. Boom. For your first challenge, I want you guys to sing. You guys need to stop laughing for a second. Sing Baba Black Sheep while film. No.
Just say.
Just sing Baba Black Sheep.
You gotta go, right?
There you go.
God, like shit, how you let it go? Yes, yes, sir, 3 gags, so.
Trash.
There you go.
Let him eat some right.
Hit the burger. Hit the burger.
Alright.
That was trash. Where's my puzzle? That was trash. I'm sorry, but objectively, I'm gonna give that to you. Actually trash. Alright. Now, you guys need to get on video for this one.
That's why you got the
For
It's
10
crazy.
seconds, try touch the bottom of your jaw with your tongue. Yes, sir, you heard me. Try touch the bottom of your jaw with your tongue. Oh shit.
This is crazy.
You can use your hands. You can use your hands. Well, you're getting smoked by Tash. You've lost.
Yeah, it's so tongue.
Yeah, you gotta.
It's not the good, you know. Yo, it's crazy. I can't get it.
No, you can't even get one from me. Alright, this is the
I
last-
can't understand on that shit.
On your shit? What's on your shit? I don't know.
Just give me on.
Alright. I don't know what's on your shit.
Just get ready now.
Alright. Okay.
I can already see it's gonna be trash.
This one? You don't like this one?
I can't read it. I can already see. The way you reacted wasn't good. You reacted excited.
Alright, cool. Now I'm gonna make it visual because people gotta hear this as well.
Yeah.
Alright, boom. Say the words wings, wand, and sparkles.
Yeah. Ring, run, sparkles.
Wings, wand, and sparkles.
Ring, run, the sparkles. Look at the hawk.
I have no idea what to say.
Right, no, nigga. Ring, run, sparkles. The hawk.
Yeah. I still gotta know what to say to me.
Nigga, listen. Rings, runs, and sparkles, brother.
Say the middle one again.
Runs.
Go Tash.
God. Rings, runs, and circles.
He's better.
Nah, I have to get.
Easy to
He is better. But overall, out of 3,
He said 3 times.
you lost. You lost. Alright, so take these things out of your mouth first so I can hear you guys out properly.
That was crazy.
That was
Oh.
crazy.
That was not G-rated.
Then the second challenge was going a bit.
It's gone
It
left.
was going
It's
left.
gone left.
Look, if you're listening this to your kids, you're an irresponsible parent. Nah, I'm playing.
That was fun, but
That was lit.
you're actually so trash. I don't think you'll be that bad at this game.
My nigga, what do you want me to do? You know what I mean?
Say
Like,
wings, wand, and sparkles. That's what I want you to say.
I won that round, but
Facts, you did too.
facts. So look at the result, you know.
That's it. Boom. So what I was really interested to talk to you about, Tash, obviously starting off is that obviously we joined Married at First Sight relationship or marriage. You know, we took it a step forward. What kind of made you want to join or do Married at First Sight to begin with?
It's a good question. I think there is obviously like so much controversy surrounding the show, you know, and it's funny how much backlash you get now. It's like, you knew what you were in for. And I was like, I did not know that that's where it was going to go.
Yeah.
But I guess I just wasn't like, I was doing finance. I was kind of bored. I wanted to go into a different sort of route. So I did invested in a beauty product. And then the opportunity came up because I applied while I found out that the guy that I just moved in with was married. So when his stuff, when he was, that's crazy. So I was sitting there and I was like, when are you going to move your stuff in? And he was like, oh. And then I asked a question I probably should have asked before to someone, they're like, yeah, babe, he's married.
What was
They're
the
trying.
question?
I just said, why is he acting so weird? What's his story? We'd only known each other for 6 weeks. It was like love at first sight. Yeah, and he was married and trying for kids. So
Fuck.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
Whoa, that's actually.
How'd you deal with that, bro?
Yeah.
I applied on married at first sight.
Spot on answer. Yeah. But like, how do you deal with that? Like, you know, you've been with someone for 6 weeks. You're probably thinking this is gonna progress and go somewhere, and then I don't know, and they're like, oh no, I'm kind of married already. It's like, how was that?
I mean, it's hard. It's so hard. I don't think I dealt with it in a healthy way, obviously. But I've had so many failed relationships. So it was kind of like, right, and jumped over it super quickly because I found like in the past, obviously when you get hurt the first couple of times in relationships and it hits you, but by like your like 15th failed relationship, you're like, right, next. Yeah.
Why is that? How do you deal with that? How do you desensitize yourself from it?
I think it just happens. You know, it's funny, isn't it? Like because so many people just have so many responses. Like, I think as a society, we really don't say like, hey, feel this, hold this. Being in like fast-paced Sydney and in the it's like, come on, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, throw yourself into work, like, and you really stop. And it's funny. People are like, aren't you upset by this? And I'm like, no. And they're like, okay, you're internalizing a lot of stuff. Yeah.
That's crazy. So do you feel like, you know, as a result being like fast-paced, just move on to the next, do you think that has any kind of like consequence or any bearings when you do go into a relationship with someone, because you kind of feel like that, I don't know, like, do you feel like you're overly attached when you're with, do you feel like you're even attached to begin with, or do you kind of go in with the pretense that like, oh, this might not last, having been in like, you know, a few relationships that haven't lasted?
Good question. I definitely come in committed and attached, and it's like, what I find is like, it's a small thing that I'm like, okay, and kind of hold back a little bit. And by the end of a relationship, normally I'm just like so withdrawn that I'm like, right. So it's like small things that push me away, but I definitely come in attached and ready, but it doesn't take much to dislodge it.
I think that's incredibly interesting. So like, do you feel like as yourself when you get in initially that you're kind of holding back because it's like, because I get that it's like you come in attached and committed and then you kind of drift off when it happens. Do you feel like the other person, like your partner, kind of feels like you're not giving your all out to it because you kind of got that?
Yeah.
I think because I'm so giving at the beginning, and I think it kind of shows in MAFS a little bit with Mikey. I think because I give it so much, people take it for granted. And then when it's not reciprocated, and what ends up normally happening is I'm withdrawn and I'm like, well, I'm done. And then they're like, no, hold on, come back. And I'm like, no, like, you're done. Like, 3 strikes, you out. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, so do you feel like do you reckon there's anything that happened that was significant enough that you can remember that was like your turning point or like a trigger point for that?
When I was 22, I was engaged to someone that was older, which is what I talked about on the show, and it went from 2 older relationships to everyone I've ever dated is an old man. So, but I think when I was engaged, I was in an incredibly abusive relationship, both physically and emotionally, and that was so hard, and it went on for 3 years, and I was caught up in that I needed this guy, and I didn't know what I was going to do if I lost him because our lives were so entwined. And by the time I got out of that, I think I was just so damaged.
Do you feel like that it has got like the emotional kind of ramifications even to now?
Yeah, I think when I sit back and talk about it, and you know, this is like the good thing that MAFS gave me. It gave me Tash, and she definitely was the one that's like, hey, start journaling. Hey, you need to go and talk to someone. And while I started sitting and reflecting, and I think maybe that's why I've been so highly anxious, but I'm finally letting myself start feeling some more emotions and breaking down a bit. And I think I'm like, whoa, like I've kept so much bottled up. And it's scary. I'm like pulling the lid off, putting it back on. I'm like,
And it's crazy. It's kind of what Femi and I always talk about, right? It's like sometimes we have like these internal demons or baggage that we're holding that it's like we're so scared to take it out because you don't know what you're gonna actually get yourself into. You're like, because it can be traumatizing to actually deal with all this emotional baggage and then realizing where it actually stems from. You're like, oh, wow, that's because of something that happened back then. And it's just like, the whole thing is just crazy. So like, and I really want to talk into how you said that you were in a quite abusive relationship for about 3 years. And I feel like maybe some of our audience and there's women out there that kind of go through similar things, but just don't know how to actually escape or get out.
For sure.
How did you find that whole process?
I mean, it is so hard. And I think, you know, every time I try to pull away, something would happen and I'd be like, oh my God, I need him back.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't confident enough to be on my own. But the second that you get out, and it's a small break, so I went back home I stuck my hand up and I was like, I need to move back home. Went to my parents' house, started just re-associating myself with my friends because I'd withdrawn from all my friends, and just doing small steps of back to my life where it was before. So I'd stopped working and I was like just studying, and he was taking care of it financially. He's like, you need to study. What I now know that as was him just trying to take away my independence.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd go out and he'd be like, where are you? So eventually I was like, right, I don't want to go out anymore. So it's just returning to things that are normal and things that I should have done and never given up. And it's just finding who you are again. And that definitely got part of it. And then eventually I met someone else. But at the time, he was just really loving and supportive, and I just needed that. And then by the time he did it, I think I was like, right, fuck all y'all, I'm done.
Fuck all y'all niggas. Fuck all y'all. So I wanted to ask, so obviously all of this type of, everything that's happened is huge, and it's been a lot of it's been in your adulthood. Do you feel like anything has come up from your childhood that's impacted this life?
Right. Yeah. I had some things happen to me when I was younger. My mother's partner was sexually abusive towards me when I was younger. And I mean, there's stuff that happens on the show that's not aired. But I definitely went to the defense of someone and was really triggered by talking about abuse. And it seemed to be this huge pushback where they were like, oh, you can't talk about that. You're not protecting yourself. But as a woman that's gone through it, I'm not ashamed because I didn't put myself in those situations. I stayed definitely too long in the abusive relationship, but it's a psychological thing you can't break away from. But I have. And so now I'm at a point where I'm like, why wouldn't I speak out about these things? Why wouldn't I offer my support to people that are stuck in those situations? So it's something I haven't revisited. It's a big thing to move on. I don't think you ever really move on from it. Sure. But yeah, it's something I can talk about now. But yeah, to feel like I got shamed on the show for bringing it up and they're like, why are you talking about that? You're not protecting yourself. It was weird because I've never had anyone say, oh, you can't talk about it.
And that's really, that goes to like a point that we always talk about. It's like this whole mental health thing and the whole trauma and self-awareness and all that thing. It's such a team sport.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't expect this one person to try and fix everything on their own when you have everybody around them bullying them and like attacking them. That doesn't give them an opportunity to be able to progress. And even when people are like, those little comments that people might say, like even like with the networks, like don't talk about it, that's then reinforcing that it's something that you should be ashamed of, which just isn't the truth. Right. So it's really important that as a community, as a team, that we support each other.
Totally. Yeah, I think, what was it? The psychologist that they made me see during the show, she turned around and she goes, I think you're doing really well. You've done well in life. And I was like, sorry, in terms of a woman, a person or a victim. And she goes, as a victim. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, that does not limit me in my ability to progress in life whatsoever. Yeah. And so like shit like that during the show was just so like, I don't know, it shut me down. I was so highly anxious by the time that I left. Like you see me cry at the parents' lunch, and I did. I just broke down. There was so much going on. Like, you should be ashamed. Oh, you've done well as a victim. And it's like, I've done well in general. Like, I have 2 degrees. I have an awesome job. I have an exciting product that I'm working on. And it's like, where is it that people get off on categorizing you as a victim?
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it is that, like, most times, like, all of us kind of experience similar things. Not maybe to the exact, but we all have some kind of, like, trauma or something from the past that kind of dictates how we live our life. And it's like, and it kind of holds us back so much. And until we actually put ourselves in a position where we can be, like, much more comfortable talking about it. And just be like, you know what, it is what it is. That's the only way you're going to actually let go of it and actually move forward. And like you said, it's just, this doesn't define who you are as a person. Like, there's so much other things that people sometimes tend to neglect and be like, oh, but let's just remind you back here. And that's kind of what we experience when we're on social media as well, or on the page. It's like, they just kind of try to remind you. It's like, oh, but you did this. But it's like,
right? It's freaking crazy. And it's like, you know, we can't make all of our own mistakes. We've got to learn from people. But imagine going through life without one mistake, being so careful and cautious that you don't go and do something and slip up. And like,
but obviously there's a lot of bullying going on. It's what we're hearing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bullying going on. So how do you deal with it? Because obviously we were on a show that is a bit more of an older demographic. People talk shit, but you can easily just ignore the shit that they talk. It's just dumb shit about the show.
Yeah.
Your experience has been quite different. It's been very personal, right?
Yeah.
So how do you deal with the whole bullying aspect of it?
I mean, it's insane. Look, I've signed up to see a new psychologist in April because I think it's really important. I go and start talking. I'm really fortunate that I have a good network. I'm so blessed with the support network I have. I have people that text me every day. And sometimes you just can't read the freaking comments and articles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quite lucky that I've got a lot of support on social networks.
Yeah.
But the media is... wow. Like every day I go and somebody sends me, like, if you don't read the articles, someone will self-send you the articles.
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll be like,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, did you know that you'd done this? And I was like, no, but I do now. So it's been insane, but I think it's just having a positive spirit. Like, yesterday was so hard. I went on the radio with Mikey. I felt really attacked. I shut down. I was so anxious. And yesterday I unplugged. I spent my day in my bed.
Yeah.
I watched movies, and that's all I could do. And I didn't push myself to go further. Like, I ordered Thai food and ate Thai in my bed. I was like, this is just what I need.
Yes.
And at like 7 o'clock last night, my pug was like, woman, haven't been outside.
Yeah.
And so I just went for a slow walk, listened to music, kept it on like Aeroflight mode, so I didn't need to, that's where I needed to be. So it's really being like, what is it that I need? Sometimes you need to talk, sometimes you need to disconnect, sometimes you need to go out and let your hair down like I did at Mardi Gras. It's just really having that self-reflection of what's going to help me.
Self-awareness and self-care is absolutely paramount.
Self-care.
It's so essential, and we don't prioritize it. I was talking to one of my friends, and one of the most insightful things he said is that, like, as a society, we have this perception that you can only take care of your mental health as a reactive thing, as something that's like, oh, shit's gone left. Let me try and put it back on track. But it's important that we're taking care of ourselves throughout, and we're listening to our bodies the same way that we would physically. If you feel a bit like heavier or tighter, you'd go, you'd maybe like, maybe I don't need 6 pieces of cake today. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, it's the same thing with your mental health. It's really important that we're constantly prioritizing that.
I think, future journaling did that for me. So it's sitting down and goes, what's the person that I want to be? What 3 qualities does that look like? How am I going to get there? So that stuff, and it takes me 10 minutes of a morning.
Yes.
I pencil that out. I wake up a little bit early. I go for a walk, and when I come back from my walk, my head's clear because I'm not a morning person. Like, I wake up a little rigid. So I got to have that caffeine here, walk it out, come home, and I take that 10 minutes, and it's nothing. And from there, I'm like, right, and it puts my headspace in the right place. And some people, for a while, when I was super fit, it's because I didn't have that, and I was like, throw myself in the gym. And some days I was training like 3 times a day, and I was like, this is not a healthy behavior. And so doing this stuff, and then everyone's like, oh, you're putting on some weight. And I'm like, it's all right, it's healthy weight. But no matter what, you're going to cop criticism.
Everyone's got some shit to say, man.
Literally. And it's always, I think the hardest thing is that when it's a routine, it's so hard to kind of pull away from it, because it's like, I was doing this for a reason. You probably come in there with like a strong why to begin with. So if you feel like you pull back, and it's like, I'm doing myself a disservice, so I'm going backwards now. But it's like, no, I'm just listening to myself, and I'm just doing what's needed. Like, shit's always changing.
Right? Yeah. And like, so instead of going to the gym 6 days a week at the moment, I'm doing it 3 days. Exactly. But I'm like, I'm like, my mental space needs more working out right now.
100%. Do you ever feel like external opinions have like dictated some of your behavior, made you feel like you needed to be something or look a particular way or act a particular way?
Yeah, there's just so much pressure. Even like yesterday when I'm copying just like so much abuse on radio, and like I looked at the comments, I just sort of add some salt into the wound yesterday, and someone's like, what is she wearing? Is she wearing a bra? That looks like a robe. And I'm like, whoa, like that, what are we looking at? Why are we talking about this? And I just feel like there's so many external pressures. There's so much backlash on everything when you're in the public eye, and even when you're not in the public eye. In high school, I got bullied for being a little bit heavier, which definitely started, and I wasn't that heavy. Like, I think I was like 8 kilos heavier than I was now, and everyone was like, oh, you're so fat. And I was like, oh. And then I got picked on for my teeth, and then I got my teeth fixed. Now they're pulling me up for having too much cosmetic surgery, and you're just like, you know, so you just got to block out the voices at some point, and it's like, how do I feel myself right now? And I feel good. Yeah. But then my mental space wasn't good, so now I'm trying to work more on that.
So did you think that you got the like cosmetic surgery because of the external factors?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with my teeth. I'm now like so teeth conscious. Like when you walked into the room, I was like, okay, nice white teeth. Yeah. I look at it now. It's like so in my brain. I'm like, wow. Like, and it's something I wouldn't have even really noticed before. And then I lost all this weight. And then somebody said, wow, it's not even like you have AA boobs. It's like you have negative AA boobs. And I'm like, oh. So then I went and had chest implants done. And then you got backlash on that. So it's crazy. And I'm happy. And I wouldn't go under the knife again now because I don't think it's healthy. But that's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You got great teeth though. Just like I noticed that. I was like, good game.
Yeah. That's a good game.
Chest, baby.
That's crazy. So I want to ask you, so like if you could go back to when like that time when you were getting bullied, they were teasing you about being a bit bigger and having nice teeth. From what you know now, was there some type of advice that you wish you could give to yourself back then from what you know now? I
mean, I just say shake it off. Like at the end of the day, you know, high school's so goddamn hard, and that's your world. Like you show up to that place 5 days a week, and it's like it's not like, you know, if now somebody's being rude and pisses me off, I'm like, see ya. I move on to a different group. But I just say like, just stay true to yourself, read your books, be a nerd, do the things that you're doing because eventually you're gonna have 2 degrees.
Exactly, and you're the boss.
You're the boss.
You're working for me now.
You're the one with the cosmetic company.
That's right.
Not them.
Call them up and hire them and say you need a janitor for the bathroom. It's like, no, I'm kidding. Peace and love.
Yes, so obviously we get taught so much, and when we talk about like with kids and younger people, it's just, you know, a lot of the time the opinion, the advice is to shake it off, to be more resilient, to, you know, be stronger, don't listen to them. But in the reality of it, it's super fucking hard.
Yeah, right? You can't. That's like retrospectively, I can say that.
Exactly. Like, how does someone, like in your opinion, how does someone actually build resilience and build that kind of skill to be able to say, fuck it, don't care?
I think you've got to find like your place that you belong in school. You know, I did so many extracurricular activities. I played basketball, I was in singing, I did saxophone, I swam, I played touch rugby, like so many. I was like, I was like, why am I always tired? But you know, eventually I found like, okay, I don't really like doing this thing, but I found, you know, in school, I didn't have like a clique. I was friends with all different type of people and just felt like where I reflected with better. I know that's strange, but I just found my place by throwing myself out there, and sometimes it's not easy. But I find that that's just the best way to do it. You'll build your courage up. Like, you just got to find your thing.
I really love that. Like you said, like you do all these type of things, but then there's always that one place where you feel like, you know, there's a stronger connection. I feel a lot more aligned here and comfortable here, and just really like just doing that a lot more often, more frequent.
More like, where do I feel good? And it becomes like an addictive. It's like the placebo, right? Like this feels good. I want more of it. Exactly. So we love that serotonin.
Get some serotonin in you. That's funny, man. So, look, let's talk about the big elephant in the room. You know, obviously. You're not on camera, Michael. Stop trying to get off, man. It's uncovered with Nick and Femi, not uncovered with Nick, Femi, and Michael.
Bounce.
That's just that boy behind the camera, right? Trying to chime in. So we want to talk about MAFS, right? Huge show, huge.
Number one Australia.
Beat the race.
Look, it's number one because the Amazing Race finished a few months ago, but that's okay. You know what I mean?
If you don't finish first, you finish last.
Facts. Yo, wait, but that's like, don't say his name don't say his name.
I mean, Mikey definitely finished first, so.
Oh God.
Sorry.
Oh God. I'm not involved in this.
No, I'm not
Channel
involved.
9, if you're trying to give me a job, like, I'm good on that. Like, I'm not involved in this conversation. But no, so MAFS, what was it actually like, and how good, how bad was it actually?
Okay. It was a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
I think I was lucky that I found some friends that I will be friends with for a lifetime. They're eclectic. They're people that I probably wouldn't get to meet. Like Tash, and I speak every day. She lives in Adelaide and is a bartender. Like, I just would have never met her. And she's been so important for me to come back to things like spirituality and stuff that I've really connected with this last year. So that's good. But that's kind of where it ends, to be fair.
Yeah,
like,
That's crazy.
you know, it all of a sudden they try to prepare you a little bit to throw you in the public eye, and you get in it. And like the first week that I hit the TV screens, like I was in, like I have a video of it, and I was in 7 different magazine or newspapers. Like, and it was just like, I was like, that's me, it's me, it's me. And there's so much afterwards. And they give you like a hotline and a therapist that you can call. But there's some days, like I said yesterday, I spent in bed. There's other days that you're stuck in bed. You don't want to call anyone, but you probably should.
Yeah.
So I just think, you know, looking back, it's people like think it's the relationships, the experiment. It's a social experiment. Like, they remove you from your normal life. You lose all your autonomy. So I remember one day I went to a meeting and they're like, we're going to let you go. But just remember, if we do this for you, you do something for us. And you're like, I'm just trying to start a company up and make a living.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I was like, I'm just trying to be an independent white woman and make my way in the world. Like,
I'm trying to get paid, man.
Trying to find love.
Yeah.
I just want to bring something to the table for my husband, and I know. So you like, there's stuff like that, and you're like, okay, so you've lost all of that, and it'll just be days, like, they don't tell you your day plan.
Yeah.
So I wake up at 7 a.m, camera in my face, you know, I'm still wiping the sleep out of my eyes, and they're like, go and make a coffee or something, like, in the morning. I'm like, I'm just gonna, like, wake up real slow, like, and they're like, no. Like, people don't want to see you wake up, they want to see you make some coffee, and I'm like, not really. Yeah. So that's that. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the gym now. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can go. But then they'll call you and they'll be like, actually, you need to be back for filming. So your day is just like jump through hoops, you know. And then the days that we do the commitment ceremony and the dinner parties are like relentless. Like, you get up, you get ready. Like, the first one, we got ready at 10 a.m. and had camera crew there. We sat in this fucking warehouse. It's non-insulated, so on days it's hot. Like, I ripped my dress on the final episode because I was sweating so much, and it was a beaded dress. It ripped. Boys are getting pulled off set to, like, dry their shirts because they're sweating through them. And they've got fire on to add ambience, and you're like, please, God, no. Like, it's literal hell. But then you sit in these tents, unable to talk to people, with, like, a basket of, like, snacks and magazines, and they're like, do not speak. And you don't see anyone. You just have your partner there. But if you're fighting, you get separated and you sit in your own tent. And then the next day, they split you into girls and guys. And it's like, you're in single chairs, just in like a cemented alleyway, looking at each other. And that goes on for like 8 hours.
What?
And and then they'll pull you in bit by bit. Like, it's like, it's not good. It's you sitting there and you're like working yourself up and thinking things. And, you know, on the commitment ceremony, it's like Mikey and I had a really big fight one night, and he didn't want to speak until we were on camera. Fuck you, Mikey. And, you know, and that was so hard for me because I'm one that I hate conflict. Yeah. And I mean, I can be fiery, but I really would rather talk something out. Yeah. So, like, if I'm in the heat of a moment, I'm like, let's just go away. But then I'm texting him and saying, hey, like, something's gone wrong. Let's communicate. And he's like, save it for camera. And then it's like...
That's crazy.
It's not good. And then you're sitting there the whole day, like, working yourself up. And then you sit on a couch and every couple gets like 40 minutes. And if you're heated, they'll try and leave you to last. Yeah. Like, if you're in a good place, you go first. You're in a bad place, you're last. And so you've been sitting there for like 3 hours. Every time a plane flies over, they're like, shh, say that one again. And it's like, and then you get out of there at like 3 a.m. And then you're up again, like, at like 10 again the next day for the next part of it. And you're like sleep deprived, not training, not eating properly. Like, it's a lot.
How long were you there for?
I stayed for 5 weeks.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so how did it affect your mental health?
I was broken after the show. I think Parents' Day, I was just so ready for something positive, and my parents are that for me. Like, I think it really showed on the day. Like, they're so there for me, and I pretty much nearly like bowled them over when I saw them, and I was like, I haven't seen my mum in 5 weeks. I went and I was like, let's do it positive, and Mikey's like, she sex shamed me, and turned it into this negative thing, and I'm like, yeah, we went skiing, and I was like, let's just get really drunk on rosé. And it was like, no, like, we're doing this for drama, and there's nothing positive for you to like grab onto. And I had a panic attack in the bathroom for an hour and a half. And then I like sat there, and when I'm watching the show for that episode, they've taken a clip of my panic attack and played it as audio over the top of a video of me running out of the room. And I'm like, I forgot I was mic'd. I'm having a panic attack, like snot and tears and everything everywhere. And my mum's there, and they played it, and I'm like, that's my mental health, and you've taken that for entertainment purposes. Like, that's not good. So afterwards, I got flown to Bali for a month. Like, so technically, I won MAFS. You know, I won a holiday. No, but I did that just because they were like, you should get out of the country, and I was just that broken, and I think they were nervous of the ramifications. And it was good, and I needed it. And at the time, I was like so caught up on saying the show, and I was like, no, like, we've got to save face. It hasn't ended well. Like, and they're like, you are so highly anxious. Like, get out of here. So they did step in and helped me when I needed it. But you don't realize it at the time because you've lived in this bubble. Like, you live on floor 9 at the Sky Suites. You eat dinner together. You see each other in the corridors. You all go to the same gym. You're not allowed to talk in the corridors. They have people standing there. They're like, no talking. It's like a really hard time. It's like jail.
Yeah, it's like jail. Yeah.
That's crazy. So how do you...
Go.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so how do you kind of move forward with that? Because it's like, obviously being the public eye, media, and I can see like nowadays with like what's going on in media right now, a lot of it's bringing up some of your past and stuff like that. Like, how do you ignore that firstly, and then like, how do you move forward with it? Because it does shape a part of like who you are at the end of the day. Right. But they're trying to put it out there like it's some negative, like it's really a negative shit about you.
Crazy. Yeah. So like, you finish the show, and then obviously I had that time where I worked over and I was in a good place, and I'm like, cool. And then I'm like, all right, it's going to air, let's do it. And I watched the wedding episode, and I was like, oh, that wasn't great. Yeah. And then the next day, it's like revenge tape scandal. And I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, it's not sex, but it's the way the media starts to just twist it. Yeah. And then there's some things that are like, that's not quite the truth. And then there's just blatant lies, and you're like, whoa. And then you wanna give attention to it, but if you give attention to it, then it's another headline. Yeah. And you're like, wow, where do I win? So like, right now it's hard, and I am just trying to do like basic parts. And I think it's now, I know after yesterday, I just can't be in the same room as Mikey. He's a trigger for me now, and I shut down. Like, and it's funny because sometimes when I'd get triggered, I'd be angry. Yeah. But now, like, he's the first trigger in my life that shuts me down. Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, whoa. And so you really have to pay attention to that sort of stuff. So a lot of my days, like today, this is like fun to talk about, but then the rest of my day is MAFS free. Yeah. And I think it's easier now, like not watching the show, and it's just going back to some sense of normality. Yeah. And it's just, eventually now that I'm off the show, I just talk to Tash, and she's like, the media articles will die down soon. Like, now I get to do all the fun stuff. Like, it's International Women's Day on the weekend, so I've got like a lunch. I'm doing a cork and canvas painting event. Like, and I'm like,
no worries for the invite.
If you want to come, you're always welcome to my table. We've done a mouth guard challenge now. We're basically married
at first sight in real life. You're the vibes. Look, but do you think there's enough actually being done for reality stars? Like, because we hear about this over and over again. It's very timely again. Caroline Flack has just committed suicide. And there's constantly people that are taking their life because of the stress.
39 people worldwide to date from reality TV.
That's fucking huge. Yeah. That's huge, because if you think about the amount of people on reality TV comparative to like the population, that's a fucking huge number.
It's crazy.
So do you think there's enough? Do you think that there needs to be enough awareness in the society for people to understand what it's like, or what do you think?
Do you know, like 100%? And I think, when I first started on the show, and that was just something that I pled to people, and it was like the day, I think the same week as Caroline Flack sort of passed, that I had another big scandal in media, and people are copying it. I'm like, guys, like, can we just give 5 minutes to respect to the fact that these are normal people? We're destroying their lives and you guys keep going. You know, and it was like yesterday, some troll was saying, oh, you know, about Tash. It's like, oh, what a horrible body she has. And I was like, hey, why do you need to body shame her? Like, what are you getting from that? And then they go, you're a horrible person. And they go, we felt sorry for you. Like how, I go, what? Because I'm standing up against a troll, I'm now a horrible person. So there's just so much backlash, so much non-awareness. I mean, the network are trying now, I think. But, you know, when they sent out an email saying, hey, to old contestants, like, hey, we're aware that MAFS is about to air again. You guys might get triggered from seeing this sort of stuff. Just know here's the hotline. And people are like posting it. And it's like, oh, what? Like now after 7 seasons, you realize we might need some help. So, I mean, I think it's progressing, but it's not progressing fast enough at all. And like people's main response seems to be like, well, you know what you're getting yourself into. And it's like, for me, that sort of attitude is the same as like when people say, oh, women wear revealing clothing, therefore they deserve to be sexually assaulted. So stuff like that is dumb just shit. So naive. And it's like, we are the problem. You know, we've just had, is it Quato? The little boy from the little Aboriginal dwarf.
Oh, Caden.
And so Quaden, he, like, you see that sort of stuff and that children are copying the hate. And I think it really begins at a social media level, at a basic level where we just don't spit that much hate. And it's got to, you know, the media just needs to chill out. Like this week, I'm in the headlines again for stuff. And it's like, hold on, half of you are saying, let's be aware of what the damage is with people like Caroline Flack. And then the media deletes, you know, some articles about Caroline because they feel responsible. But now they've just moved on to another set of people. And it doesn't stop. I think MAFS contestants definitely cop it a little bit worse than most people.
Massive.
But yeah, I think it's just important to remember that we're all struggling. You know, originally Mikey and I agreed to have each other's back. And that hasn't worked out, and it's a shame. And that's why just yesterday in the media, I said, please just have respect for his family, you know, and I don't want to quit back. And it's very easy, like, you want to quit back. But I'm like, God, how much fuel do you keep adding to the fire? So I think it's important that we take responsibility not to spread hate between each other. I think it's important that the media gives us a break. I think it's important the network takes a little bit more responsibility and offers more help. And I think then it's up to the audiences just to not be so negative. Like there's like 8 Facebook groups that I'm aware of, and it's called like MAFS Uncensored, and they go hard. Like whoa, like I've scrolled through there and I'm like,
yo,
yeah.
That's what happens when you get 1.5 million views.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, next time I'll do the Amazing Race.
Amazing Race, 600. Not enough eyes watching. You can't get hate when no one watches. You can't get hate. Nah, but it's crazy. Like this whole thing was really interesting actually, because at our launch of the podcast, we had someone that actually asked that question about how do we actually address this issue, because it's obviously an issue, but people don't see. It's almost like we're not really like celebrities or whatever.
To me, you are.
Oh, thanks.
That's what I meant.
So we're not really like obviously famous anymore. For the 6 weeks that we were on TV, it was alright. It was cool. Yeah. But during that time, we weren't human beings almost to people.
Yeah.
And people who felt like they could say whatever they wanted to say to us. And there wasn't enough kind of like awareness. So it's like, I'm just really, really interested about it. Ever since you asked that question, I'm really, really interested. Like, what is the actual steps? But it's definitely a hard one. It's a hard one.
It's very difficult as well, because especially because the media plays such a big role in it. Because it's like they understand that by me name shaming you and doing all that negative bullshit, that's what sells.
They're on that clickbait, you know.
And it's like, until like the media can understand that, it's like, you know what, we need to kind of detach from saying all this bad shit.
Yeah.
Because once they start saying bad shit, like big players, then other people lower than them are going to be like, oh yeah, I can say that shit too.
Yeah.
You know, Daily Telegraph can say that, then I can say that too. Who cares?
You know, the one that's rocked me the most. I mean, I have so much overwhelming support from socials. Like there is some bad stuff, but I've been so lucky. I don't know if it's just because I'm like publicly like, I'm broken, and people are like, oh, okay. But Poppy has come out and she's trying to be so strong, and there's so much stuff. Someone messaged her and said, I'm gonna kill you and your white kids.
That's
Like,
crazy.
what? Like what? Like that's
What?
what? Like I'm just like, where is that okay? Like she's a single mother,
Exactly.
and she's got there's three this week. You know, I'm going to a 3-year-old's birthday party on Saturday, but like, are you going to show up and stab them? No, you're not. But why the fuck do you feel that because you have a keyboard, you're cool to make death threats to someone because they've been on a TV show? Because they haven't.
TV show.
It's a TV
Yeah,
show.
it's a fucking TV. Like, chill out, bro.
Yeah. Like,
yo.
don't get that angry. She hasn't done anything to you directly. And I mean, I'm an empath, so I connect on a big way, and I understand, you know, I struggle to cry normally in real life, but not at the moment. I'm like a big sewing mess. But normally I have to normally I have to watch movies, and like, you know, I watch The Notebook and I hug up with my pug, the only person I got left in the world with tissues. And that's how I connect. So I understand putting yourself in that place, but I mean, I don't understand the aggression. I'm missing something. And I just think people need to remember, like, words hurt, you know? And it's like, I know people like sticks and stones may break my bones. Like, names hurt. Like, I still sit back and I look, like, 10 years after I've graduated, I still sit and reflect on the stuff that used to happen in high school. Like, let's just have some heart and remember that there's so much going on and so much support that people offer, and we're just unraveling it when we throw those spare comments out. And I think what people don't understand is it can be like, I've copped it so much in the media that day, and I've had, like, yesterday on the radio, it can be like the smallest comment that pushes you over the edge.
Yes.
You know, and people are like, oh, it's just a joke. And you're like, yeah, but like, you've got to remember, like, that's not the only thread that people have got. They're copying it on every form of social media. They're copying it in the magazines. You know, my dad yesterday was like, I don't think he meant it from a bad place, but he just came out and he's like, aren't you embarrassed? Step out of the spotlight. And it's like, thanks, Dad. I'm now going to go and lock myself in my room. Like, you know, it's just, there's just so much that's full on. I just think it's awareness.
Yeah. I love that. It's perfect, because we always preach that.
That's it.
It's good to have.
That's our message.
Yeah, that's our number one thing, is about the awareness and self-awareness and awareness of what's kind of going on in the world as well, because we're too much in our own head.
Yeah.
And we don't think enough about other people. We're not taught to empathize. We're not taught to give a fuck about other people.
No.
And that's why we have a generation of people, or a society of people, that can do this shit to people. That's, when you really think about it, imagine, like, social media is pretty much just the internet version of someone coming up to someone they don't know on the street and saying, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Right?
Do you know what I mean?
That.
Like, what?
Imagine
Like,
that.
you don't know me, you don't know nothing about me, you've seen me once on a billboard, and now you think that I'm some fuckwit.
Come for me.
What?
And that's it. And the lack of sympathy with, oh, well, you should have known what you were getting yourself into. It's like, really? I should have expected death threats from going on television?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Look, bro.
Careful, you're going to cop it for that. Someone's going to feel like it.
All I gotta say is, look, the people that are spewing hate, I swear to God, I mean this in the most honest, most kind place possible. You need serious help.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not okay to be so bothered and triggered by somebody that doesn't even know your name.
And they're just trying to live their life.
Right, they're just trying to live their life. People are on TV for fun, for career progression, for whatever the fuck for whatever reason. They did not say, yo, fuck Sally94 on Instagram. I'm doing this to fuck with her life. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care about you. So, like, why are you so bothered by their behavior? Like, I think you should honestly, I really mean it, speak to somebody and
do
get
some
help.
self-reflection.
Because it comes from a place of self-hate. It comes from seeing something. And that's something that I try to always tell myself. These people are coming for you because they see something that they lack. So, like, I've had a lot of cosmetic surgery, and I was fortunate enough to be gifted that. And then people hate you for it. I understand, like, you can look and you can be like, wow, she's really attractive. And then other people are just like, fuck that bitch. Like, I've felt that so much lately. And I'm like, I'll take my boob implants out. Like, what else do you want? I'll stop going under the knife. And it's like, hold on, wait, why are these people getting to control so much of my life? And it's I don't know, it's insane.
I feel like I could talk all day long. This is sick. This has been a really, really good interview. Like, well, we could talk for the rest of the day, but my camera's gonna die. So in conclusion, we're gonna do a little bit of a wrap up
Yes,
because we've learned you from one angle, but now we want to get to know you on a little bit more of your everyday life side. You know what I mean? So we're gonna ask a series of questions, rapid fire. You know, one word, one sentence max.
Okay.
And yeah, man.
And you're like, let's do it.
What the fuck? She's rapping, speaking in tongues.
Just trying to find it.
Yeah.
Let me think of it off the top of my head.
You don't know it.
I do know it. Okay, Tommy. Number one. What's your favorite movie?
It's a really bizarre answer. It's The Color Purple.
What's that about?
What's that?
It talks about a black slave, and it was her like her journey.
I didn't say nothing.
Oh my God, get your head off
Nick was just relating a bit too much. I was like, oh God, bro. It's not you, bro.
Oh my God, get your head off me.
A journey into freedom and a reuniting with her daughter.
Oh shit, Color Purple sounds dope.
Yes, that's Enough said. Boom. I'm about to check that out. Favorite travel destination?
So many. Look, my favorite place that I always go back to is LA. But that's because I do work there. But I haven't done Mexico yet, and I'm keen.
Holy, I've been watching a lot of Narcos.
Yeah, you know.
You still want to go?
Yeah, but but how heavy is this? The other day, my friend has a house over there in Cabo, and apparently, like, there's certain airports, and they hung white tourists from the post outside the airport, like, do not come here. And I'm like,
That's crazy.
maybe I'll leave it another year.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. Yo.
Tommy, what's the most important thing in your life, item-wise?
So not like a phone or whatever. Like
My pug.
counting that.
Too many people have gotten away with saying that.
I know, like a pug
I
is
feel
like,
I get it,
it's
but-
like, you know what I mean? Like it's not really a thing. It's like
That's not really a thing.
like a thing, like a sentimental thing.
A sentimental thing.
It's actually so funny.
You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I don't like
Actually,
that.
I don't wear it, but I have my grandmother passed last year, and she gave me one of her rings, so I've just got it resized. So, yeah, that.
I love that one. I like the pub one too.
I thought it was a bit of a cheat. It's like, oh, what's my favorite thing? Oh, my wife. Oh, you know what I mean? It's like,
What's the
we'll say it together.
okay, I'm
All
sorry.
right.
What's the most attractive quality in someone?
Like when I first meet them or when I get to know them.
I don't know.
When you first meet them.
My first-
Give us both.
Eyes and smile, I'm like, you know, and then I think later it's just, I think it's an ability to sympathize, I think. Do you know what I mean? Like an ability to understand, because I find that we, in relationships and stuff, we get so like stuck in, well, this is how I feel. And it's something I've really worked on this year is like taking 5 and putting myself in their shoes. So the ability to be able to do that, I'm like, conflict resolution, baby.
Love it when you resolve that conflict. Yeah. Good.
And what is your number one tip / advice for life?
That we're all gonna die eventually, so enjoy it while we're here.
Oh, me.
I was thinking of where I was going. You stood it back in. I'm like, oh.
I was about to be like, yo, Sean, cut this shit. That's so good. Honestly, this has been one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah.
I felt that it's been really just chill.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So chill. Like, I like it. It's lit. It's lit.
Yeah, it's just been so raw, it's just been authentic, and it's just,
100%.
it is what it is, and that's what we always love to do, so.
Thank you guys, you're
really appreciate you
legends.
coming.
So tell the people, where do people find you? What are you doing? What's like your next big steps?
Cool. Right now, I'm just kind of enjoying my Lip MD and doing that journey. I will be bringing out more beauty products throughout the year. I'm starting a YouTube channel, so you guys will have to come on my YouTube channel. We can like do each other's makeup or something, beauty related.
I mean, yeah. We'll talk off camera.
I'll give you guys a challenge. yeah, I'm just gonna kind of enjoy the ride, you know. I'm not gonna go back to reality TV for a little while. If I do, I'm gonna maybe do something like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, because I think eating bugs sounds more attractive than another dating show. Yeah, just enjoying this journey. So I'll be staying in Sydney for a little while. I keep traveling, so everyone's like, you're gonna miss all the opportunities if you keep traveling. So you can find me right here in Sydney, in the West.
She's moving to Blacktown.
Somewhere near Aljana.
So what's your socials? What's your handle?
My handle is at Tashki_. Tashki.
Dope. And well,
you know where to find us, obviously.
Yes, at NickandFemi. If you want some sauce, at Who's Femi, my own private Instagram.
Yeah, you're gonna get no followers after that.
If you want just like kind of incoherent captions, at
Knees with 4 E's and an underscore. Set your day right. Follow our Instagram.
Honestly, these captions are crazy. They make no sense.
They actually make perfect sense. You're actually inspired.
Anyway,
You've swiped a few.
What?
Anyways.
I'll give you both a follow.
Oh, thanks, Tashi. Thanks, Tashi _
Tashki.
That's what I said.
Tashki. Tashki.
Shut up, idiot. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Uncovered Podcast with Nick. And if you have any questions,
See how dumb he is? See how dumb this guy is?
Guys,
give us a like, follow, subscribe, love a comment, peace and love.
Yes, sir.
We're done.
Tell everybody you love
We're
them.
done. Love you all.
Tell your parents you love them. Tell everybody you know you love them.
Oh no, honestly, on some real shit, but
Some real shit. Go out there and tell at least like 3 people you love that you love them. And
well, there's 3 people in this room now. So
huh? Bye, guys.